Peter Jones was one of those who visited the planetarium from a young age, and who later came to work at the McLaughlin Planetarium at 90 Queen's Park Crescent, which opened in 1968 from a donation by R.S. McLaughlin, the first president of General Motors Canada.
My name is Peter Jones. I worked at the McLaughlin Planetarium in Toronto from the late 1970s through into the 1990s. My job was a planetarium show operator, which meant that myself, along with multiple other people, ran the Star Theatre. So we had multiple projectors around the outside of the theater, plus a giant machine that looked like a dumbbell that came from East Germany that was our main star projector. And we had a control panel that ran it along with multiple computer systems over many different iterations. When I was in my teens in high school, I asked if it was possible to get a job down there. About 8 or 9 months later, I got hired on. I did my first couple of shows, was trained by the other operators, and we'd run that show for 4 to 6 months, and then a new show would come in. The show producer would come up with an idea. So we did a show about science fiction versus science fact. So the show producer would do research. He'd have to learn, read a bunch of science fiction books, look up the science fact. Then he would write a script. So we'd get a rough draft of a script that would come out. There were multiple departments. There was a photographer who did all the photography for the show. There was a music producer / audio engineer that did all the soundtrack, and the music for the show was composed in-house for the show. Then there was an artist who did art renderings for the show. If we needed a drawing of something or any kind of artwork done, he would do that. And there was also a team of technicians who built effects. So the script would call for something like a rotating galaxy effect on the dome, and we'd have to figure out how to do that. So we'd have to make a projector that would have a picture in it, and the picture would be done by the artist and then shot by the photographer, and then that would get mounted in the projector, and we'd have to build a motor that would rotate that image around inside the projector. Then we'd have to shoot that onto the dome in some particular effect, or put a special lens on it that elongated it, or whatever the particular effect is. So we had all these lists of effects, and we'd build these machines in our workshop. And we had a large machine shop, wood shop, electronic shop that we'd actually build stuff in. So we'd have to build a projector to do this, and we'd actually build it right down to where we made the gears for it. And this was in the 80s. Much of planetarium technology was developed in Toronto. We had to sort of design everything from scratch that we used. I think there was probably very few systems in our theater that we didn't either design ourselves or modify from something we purchased. That we'd buy something and then we'd have to make it fit to do what we needed it to do. Every 6 or 8 months we get a new laser light show as well that we also had to learn. So the planetarium went along with the laser show, that we did some of the background effects and so forth for the laser shows as well. So we had to learn all the cues in that one. There was a strobe light here and some other thing at this point in a laser show.
The McLaughlin Planetarium stood as a beacon of innovation and collaboration, inspiring visitors with its cutting-edge exhibits and educational programs. Since its closure in 1995, the creative spirit and shared learning the planetarium fostered has been deeply missed by those who remember their experiences of it and the generations since that never had that opportunity.